Hello, everybody. It's really nice. Like now that the summer is kind of coming to an end and kids are back in school and everything, we're filling up the house again. It's really cool. I love it. I'm going to be talking about faith and reality today, and this title is kind of inspired by a speech that I used to read a lot when I was on my missions program, when I was traveling the country and fundraising and doing lots of praying and all the different things that we did on our missions program. We read this speech a lot. And I don't know, there was some things about it that really resonated with me at that time, and some things that still continue to resonate with me today, 20 years later, because I think that this is a topic that we're constantly grappling with as human beings. What's my reality, and what's my faith, or like what are my hopes, my dreams, the things that I want to see happen or I hope to see happen in my life, but maybe they're not really a reality right now. So faith and reality often are different, and trying to find a way to get from one point to the other can be challenging. So I'd like to start off just by reading a short excerpt from that speech. This is from our founder, Reverend Moon. He said, "The life of faith does not depend on the concrete, visible reality of this physical world, but has to do with the invisible God. We are living in a world of practical reality, so we have to deal with practical issues on this earth. However, the life of faith belongs to another realm, and we cannot apply the same standards or deal with the same issues. In this world, we all seek happiness and joy. We as individual beings can never find happiness, but we need some other element from which to bring it about, another person, material things, an intellectual goal. We can apply certain criteria to everything in the world. Unless we are finding other things or people that stimulate us and make us happy, we cannot make progress in life. In other words, we find happiness through something objective which stimulates us. In our academic life, we are happy as we pursue intellectual reality, but happiness comes over a period of time as we strive to reach a high goal or ideal. The problem always is, how can I establish a relationship between myself and my object that will bring happiness? Unhappiness, depression, and despair will be produced whenever we fail to maintain the proper relationship with our object. In order for us to continue living, it is absolutely necessary to have a continuous and positive objective stimulus. All the elements of success and failure develop around this relationship. How are you going to continue to be positively stimulated in your academic work? That is the key to success. Although you may set up many ideal standards in the world of reality, if this continuous stimulus is cut off, you will fail to reach the goal." Yes. So, the topic I actually really want to talk about today is connected to this, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't have talked about it. But it's a topic that we definitely don't typically talk about in church that much, and that is anxiety. I want to talk a little bit about anxiety today. We just watched Inside Out 2 the other day. If you haven't seen that movie, it's all about anxiety, so it's kind of fitting, interestingly. So anxiety is defined as a feeling of worry, nervousness, or dread, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. In our life, we often have experiences or situations that we have to deal with that we wish we didn't have to. We wish that those things didn't happen. They're difficult to digest. They take time. We have to heal from them. We have to figure out why that happened or what it means for me. And those are a reality that we all, without exception, have to deal with in life. But I found that when something happens to us or at us or around us, we have the opportunity to digest it, to deal with it, to figure it out, to heal if we need to, or whatever. Once the situation has happened, once that thing has happened to us, then we can cope with it. But I find that what's much worse than the situation itself is what happens afterwards. No, after. After. It's the gift that keeps on giving, in a sense. Because when we go through a difficult experience in life or a trauma or something like that, then we go through the rest of our life with that, having to have that experience and dreading or worrying or stressing about the possibility that may ever happen to me again, or it may happen to my kids, or it may happen to somebody I love. And we instead of being able to kind of live our life maybe more fully, we live our life with the fear that something like that could happen again. And also with the feeling that I need to prevent that from happening. I need to find, like, if this happens, then that's going to happen, or if this doesn't happen, then that's going to happen, or something like that. And this, is, in my opinion, is much worse in a way than the thing that happened, because then for the rest of our life, unless we can digest it and deal with it and heal from it, we are constantly worrying about what could be, like the what if this, then that. And that can be debilitating. That can really hold us back from being able to do things in life that may involve a little bit of risk or a little bit of getting out of our comfort zone, which I think most of us could agree are probably the things that lead to more fulfilling experiences in life. Nothing truly fulfilling comes just by being comfortable and doing things that we feel comfortable to do. I find that fear around what may happen cripples us. It's definitely crippled me in my life. I can say that. And part of the reason why I felt called to talk about this today is because after our sabbatical, I started to realize that I feel a lot more relaxed. I feel a lot more a sense of peace, because I used to feel like I had a mental checklist of all the things that needed to be done, but also mentally always being aware of what people were thinking and what has caused trouble for us in the past, and always trying to be careful not to recreate those events, in a sense. Like, I got to make sure things are clean, and I got to make sure that the lawn is mowed, and I got to make sure that I'm keeping busy and all these things, and partly out of a desire for things to be clean and for productivity, but also partly out of an anxiety or fear of potentially what could happen if I let things go. And when we were gone for 2 months, I was like, oh yeah, I don't have to worry about those things. But then when we came back, I realized that I'm still not worried about those things. Like the lawn outside the church is looking pretty, what's the word? Scrubby, or it's not looking too good. And the past me would be like, oh yeah, well, I better go take care of that because I don't want the lawn to look bad. But now I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Maybe it just needs to get bad, and we'll come up with a plan, or someone will volunteer. We'll figure it out. But I don't really feel like going and mowing it anymore. And it's that, but with like 100 different things. And I realized that I didn't realize how much I was living in a state of anxiety. It didn't happen overnight. It's nobody's fault. It took me a long time to realize, because I realize also I'm kind of a slow learner, like about certain things. Some things I pick up quickly, and some things like this I realize, it took me 10 years. Okay, that's fine. To not worry and stress about what people will think, and not worry and stress about things getting done. And a few years ago, I was really struggling with something, with the church hierarchy, I guess you could say. And it wasn't that they were asking us to do anything wrong or unethical, but I didn't agree with it. And I felt that long term, it would have a lot of negative repercussions for our local community and for the national community. And I just felt that on principle, I didn't want to go along with it. And this stressed me out so much because I'm kind of a person, I don't know if it's my Japanese side or what, but there's a part of me that just really wants to just agree with everything and just go along. I want to be like, yeah, well, let's do that. Let's just see how it goes. Even though in my mind I'm thinking that's not going to work. But this particular thing bothered me so much, and I'm being vague on purpose. I hope you can understand. And I struggle so much because there was a part of me that wants to support. There's a part of me that, but I know it's not good. Like it's not good for the well-being of our community long term. So I'm not going to do it. But then I'm thinking to myself, what if they like I don't know, not fire us, but like try to push us out of leadership, or what if it rubs some people the wrong way, or it's just like a lot of different fears. But I went and Adonia actually encouraged me to get some help. I found a counselor who specializes in like stress-related work situations, and she was a really nice lady. And I explained to her the whole thing. And she, obviously this happened over a period of a couple months. But one of the questions that she asked me, I really has stuck with me. And one of the things she asked me is, well, what's the worst case scenario in your mind? And if that happened, what would you do? How would you deal with it? Would that be a deal breaker for you? Like you wouldn't pastor anymore? And I said, well, I think the worst case scenario is if, we, got kicked out of the church or something, and we would just continue to do it as volunteers or something like that. Like no one can make you not volunteer, right? And actually, that was such a liberating experience for me. To know that worst case scenario was maybe not as bad as I thought it would be, I realized that, worst case scenario in this situation, I would still be able to do what I wanted to do. Yes, life would be a little bit more difficult, have to find another job or another source of income or something, but I could still do what I wanted to do. I could still do what I felt God was calling us to do. So in the end, it wouldn't be that bad. So nothing like that happened. It was all in my head. That thing that they asked us to do ended up kind of just disappearing. And all the stress and the anxiety and the fear and everything was just in my mind, the what if. Like, I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be put in this situation. What if I don't want to do it? What's going to happen? And all these things, I realized through help that if I had to deal with the situation, I could deal with it. And so a big part of this journey for me is learning to just accept that, yes, some of the things that or you or me, any of us may have fears about, may come to pass. There's no guarantees that just because we approach something with the right attitude or with a prayerful heart, and do all the right things, that things will work out or go the way that we want them to go. But there's some liberation in being able to just accept that some things just won't go the way we wish they would. And what will I do? Will I just give up? Is my life over? This is, in some ways, going back to really a fundamental principle and concept that we teach from the divine principle, and that is to see from God's viewpoint. Everything always goes back to seeing from God's viewpoint. If we look at our own situation from our own perspective of what we see, of what happens in our life and what could happen, in some ways it's natural to experience some level of anxiety, you know? So many people in this world go through so difficult circumstances and difficult experiences. But I think that this speech also gives us some insights into how we deal with that. So I want to repeat this one paragraph and then continue to a different part of the speech. Father said, "Unhappiness, depression, and despair will be produced whenever we fail to maintain the proper relationship with our object. In order for us to continue living, it's absolutely necessary to have a continuous and positive objective stimulus. All the elements of success and failure develop around this relationship. How are you going to continue to be positively stimulated in your academic work? That is the key to success. Although you may set up many ideal standards in the world of reality, if this continuous stimulus is cut off, you will fail to reach the goal." So I don't know if they had an issue with translating this speech, or like the wording is really confusing to me in some ways. But I think that the heart of what Father is talking about here is that we need to be connected with where we're going. We need to be connected with what we want in life. And when we lose that connection, then it's hard to find the reason or the passion or the strength to overcome difficulties when they come into our life. But when we're always connected to like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want in life. This is how I'm working towards that. This is how I'm creating it in reality. It's not just a faith. It's not just a hope. It's not just a dream. But I'm working towards it. And even if it's in a small way, but I'm working towards it, it gives us strength in life. But when we feel completely disconnected, I don't have any hope. I don't see how I can get to where I want to be. I don't see how I can heal this relationship with my parents or with my children. It's always going to be this way. When we get into that place, it's hard to find strength. It's hard to find hope. So what I believe that Father is saying here is that we need to constantly be connected to and stimulated by making progress towards whatever it is we're striving for in life. My contribution to my family, to my community, to my world, to science, whatever it is that we are contributing to in our life, we need to be connected with that. It's what stimulates us, it's what gives us drive to move forward. Anyway, that's what I think. So going forward, he says, when you walk along the street, why don't you take God's point of view? You have to notice the evil things you would want to change, and then the good things you will multiply for your nation and for mankind. When you look at things this way through God's eyes, you will always be growing. When you look at the it ends? Okay. You will always be growing. When you look at the weakness of the political situation, there's a lot of anxiety around politics right now, isn't there? We have a big election coming up pretty soon. When you look at the weakness of the political situation, when you look at the changing elements from God's position, you should think, I am going to reform this and that. If nobody else does it, then think in your own mind, I will do it. When you maintain this kind of disposition, automatically angels and saints will come to you and help you even if you never ask for help from God. Wherever you go, you do not have to worry. You are perfectly all right even in the most dangerous of situations. With this confidence, you can overcome any difficulties. Then God will reveal to you in many ways what is going to take place in the world through dreams or visions or inspiration. This will be very comforting to you in this world of change. So I'd like to finish off by a couple more quotes. This is from Isaiah, I believe. My thoughts are nothing like your thoughts, says the Lord, and my ways are far beyond anything you could imagine. For just as the heavens are higher than the earth, so my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. And then our true Father said, this universe is veiled in mystery. This great universe is some billion light years across. 1 light year is the distance light travels in a year. Light can circle the earth 7.5 times in 1 second. So you can begin to conceive of how far light travels in a year. Then how large must the master be who can rule this huge universe? If God had a body, how tall would he be? And it goes on, but basically to help us to understand that God is bigger than what we ourselves personally see in our own lives, in this world. This amazing God, our Heavenly Parent, who has brought us to this point and who has brought us all together, is not going to forsake us, and it's not going to forsake this world. And like I said before, I'm not saying that the things that we may have fears about won't come to pass, but we also can't live in fear of them. We can't live in anxiety of the things that might happen, or the things that other people might do that we may have no control over really. We take responsibility for what we can take responsibility for, what we're willing to take responsibility for. And remember that our God is big. He has an unchanging plan and a will for us. Please join me in prayer. Good morning, our dearest Heavenly Parent. I thank you so much for your presence in our lives and for this world that we are able to be a part of despite its many flaws and issues, Heavenly Parent. We know that, of course, you, Heavenly Parent, would like for things to be a certain way. And you would like to see your children happy, fulfilled, and you would like to see this world going in a certain direction. And in history, Heavenly Parent, we've often run the opposite direction. But little by little, Heavenly Parent, you have worked, and you have worked through amazing people and saints who have sacrificed so much so that we could come to this point, Heavenly Parent. You're guiding us, and you are a living God that is a part of the things that are happening in this world and a part of the things that are happening in our lives. I pray, Heavenly Parent, that your presence can be felt deeply and strongly by each person in this world, in our community, Heavenly Parent, and also that we ourselves can connect to that part of you that is within each and every one of us that strives and yearns to do something in this world and something for you, Heavenly Parent. Despite where we may be in our lives, whether we're young or we're old or wherever we're at, Heavenly Parent, we have a possibility to live in closeness with you and to do something for you in this world, Heavenly Parent. And I really pray that each and every one of us can connect more deeply with that we can be connected to it in a way that our lives can be fruitful, Heavenly Parent, and that we can escape anxiety and fear and the things that we may worry about, Heavenly Parent, and instead work towards building something better, building something great, Heavenly Parent, offering it to you. I thank you, Heavenly Parent, for the opportunity for all brothers and sisters to come together. We have such a wonderful community of people, and I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for being able to be a part of that and for your work in this community, in this world. And I offer this prayer on behalf of all of our blessed families here. Amen and Aju. Thank you.